Spider-Man.
So this episode of The Acolyte needed to wow me, and it did. This episode was by far the best episode of the show so far. I had such a good time watching it. It furthers the plot along, gives us this great action that we're going to go so into detail with. I am so excited to talk about it. But before we get into this, leave your comments down below of what you thought of this episode and all of the hidden things that I may have missed in this video. I read every single one. I most likely will respond. Let's start with a quick little breakdown. Also, subscribe to the channel because we're at 1,500 subs and now we're on the road to 2,000. It's also free. Honestly, the whole first half of this episode is just one big lightsaber duel with many different characters. And I'm not afraid to admit that I believe that the action sequence in this show, in this episode in particular, rivals lightsaber duels that we haven't seen since the prequels. This is, in my opinion, way better than what we got in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, as well as Ahsoka. And I love Ahsoka. But this feels really prequel era, which is kind of my favorite, and just the moves that this Sith character does is just so cool, and he takes out almost all of the Jedi. Which, in regards to that, people seem to be upset because, well, this Sith character cannot be known by anybody because of the events that take place in The Phantom Menace, with the Sith not being seen in generations. Which they actually bring it up here in this episode and they talk about it, so all of the people who are concerned about that can put it to rest. There's just some amazing choreography here. There's a couple moments in particular that I want to talk about. One being the moment where the Sith character stabs two people with one lightsaber in a force push. I thought that was awesome. And the use of the double lightsabers, both with Jeki and with this Sith character. Now, he does call himself a Sith in this episode, but he doesn't have a name, and the whole purpose that he's doing this for is to get a pupil, an acolyte, which is essentially the equivalent of a Padawan for a Jedi. Something very interesting about this character is that his armor actually deflects and disables lightsabers for a temporary amount of time. Very cool. I really like the design of the armor, and I like how even though the armor gets removed at some point and we find out the identity of this character, the armor doesn't get lost forever as they pick it up near the end of the episode. Which brings me to the only thing that I wasn't completely sold on before this episode came out, and now that I've seen the whole episode, I am completely sold on, and that is the reveal of the Sith character being Chimere, or something. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but it's the character that Mae has been going along with this whole time. And it's awesome because the performance given here as the Sith character without the disguise of being a scavenger, he really does a great job. Because you now realize that the scavenger persona was the mask that he had on, and the menacing persona that he has in his real form is just great to watch. They actually do a couple things here that blew my mind because we have all of these Jedi stopping this guy, but a lot of them get killed. I assumed, okay, we're going to see Sol survive, we're going to see Mae and Osha survive, and we're probably going to see Yord and Jeki survive. But lo and behold, Jeki gets an incredible death scene where she's fighting to the death, being that devoted Padawan, but she actually brutally dies by 3 different lightsaber punctures that visually looked insane. And not only that, we actually see the death of Yord as well. And while I didn't love Yord as a character because he was very annoying, he definitely served his purpose, and he was that stereotypical Jedi cop persona. And the way that he's not even killed by a lightsaber, but the guy just snaps his neck, was brutal. This is just everything I wanted this show to be, and I hope we get more of it, because if that is the case, this show is going to turn around for a lot of people, I think. Because now this seems like the stepping off point. This is where the rest of the series is going to base itself off of, and we find out that everyone was upset for no reason about the events that happened in the flashback within the 3rd episode. We find out that the Jedi potentially brainwashed Osha. The events that she thought happened with the fire didn't actually happen, which we theorized, and we were correct. So while Mae was technically evil, yes, we don't know the full story of why she did what she did and hunted down these Jedi. Hopefully we'll find out next week. In a way, I'm sort of excited to look at flashbacks now because I want to know the true story after this epic episode. We end this episode off with a terrified Master Sol who needs to take Osha back to Coruscant to tell everyone what's going on. The problem that many people may have with this is the fact that Ki-Adi-Mundi, who appeared in the previous episode, is not supposed to know that the Sith exist, and the Sith is name dropped in this episode. So something has to happen. Of course, we assumed that all of these Jedi weren't going to make it because the identities of the Sith returning had to be hidden until the Phantom Menace. And besides Ki-Adi-Mundi's birthday, which in my opinion is just not that big of a deal, it's just a birthday, as long as he doesn't find out about the Sith, I think we're good. I think they're trying to respect respect the lore here, and I applaud them for that. I'm not excusing other things in terms of pacing and editing in the previous episodes, but this was a huge win for me. At the end of this episode, Mae actually knocks out Osha, takes her clothes, cuts her hair, and actually goes to Master Soul pretending to be her sister. Meanwhile, the Sith Master goes to Osha and recruits her as his new Padawan. So yeah, we're in a very good spot in terms of the plot progression, and the action was just so great. I was so impressed. I just pray that there's more and that this isn't it. Please let me know what you guys thought down in the comments. Again, I read every single one, and I'm really excited to see how people are receiving this episode, especially after what has gone on with the past 2 episodes. Because I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I'm going to be honest. This was a win for me. Is the show perfect? No, but this was a huge step up from what we got before. I really liked the first 2 episodes. 3 and 4 did not do it for me, but this 5th one really got it going. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really thought this was a huge step up, and I will see you all next week.